welcome to the show. This is What's Your Story? Glad that you have tuned in today. My name is Catherine Mwangi here from the Tamarind Restaurant. We are grateful to the management for giving us this beautiful space to film from. My guest, this whole of April, you know, we have been featuring men who are inspiring, men who have integrity and values in how they conduct their lives, their businesses, their families. And today we get the opportunity to speak to a businessman. He's the founder and CEO of Little and also Craft Silicon. You may know Little as the taxi hailing service, Little Cab, but it's bigger than that, and we'll be getting to know more about it. Kamal Budhabhatti, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
I like your surname. It's like a rock star's name, Budhabhatti. You know, have you envisioned a concert, someone with a mic and
With
saying,
a mic.
welcome?
When I was a kid, I really wanted to learn how to sing and play,
Is that right?
but it never happened.
Of course it can't, because you're a techie or a nerd. Though there are some musicians actually who are rock stars,
Rock
most
stars?
of them are like introverts and nerds.
Yeah.
So why didn't it happen then?
I don't know, maybe
You
it
even
was
have the
just a
hair
dream.
for it.
My hairs are good.
The wavy and curly and everything. But welcome to the program.
Thank you very
I
much.
see you've worn a little shirt.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
my baby.
Oh! Before the show, you said your laptop is your sweetheart.
That's
Little
true.
is your baby.
That's true.
I see. So you have christened several of your businesses, giving them family names. And
That's
what
true.
is Craft Silicon?
Maybe my firstborn.
Okay, interesting. We'll come to the companies. So
Yeah.
let's work with your story backwards by, you know, telling us about your background. What was your childhood like?
So, I am. I have a brother and a sister, so we are a family of 3.
Okay.
And my mother is the one who brought me up.
Okay.
So, and interestingly, I don't know if I can tell you a bit about my mother.
Yeah, sure.
So my mom was from a royal family. She was the daughter of a king.
Eh.
Hey, man.
So now you are a prince. Now why didn't I start by Your Royal Highness?
So, okay, in India there used to be these small towns.
Right.
And my grandfather used to be a king of one of those small towns. And my dad was some person just around selling newspaper in that area.
An ordinary man.
Yeah.
Yes.
And my mom and dad fell in love.
A princess and a commoner.
Okay, I don't know princess, but I would just
Daughter
call
of
my
a
mom.
king, Kamal. I know you're humble and modest. Great. Mine is to outline it for the audience. A princess, daughter of a king, falls in love with a commoner who sells newspapers on the street.
And then my grandfather obviously would never allow that to happen.
Oh.
So one night my mom ran away with my father.
Has this story been made into a Hollywood movie?
Okay, I have some blogs written on it. I have written some blogs
Okay.
to that. And, but then I think that was past, but they would not stay in the same town because obviously, you know,
The king would find them.
find them. So they relocated to some other town. And yeah, but I think that's how my parents were.
Is your character from your mom or your dad?
I think both of them. So my mom was like very courageous. She would not really think about, you know, consequences. If she liked something, she would just get into that. Like and my dad, I think he's a very intelligent guy. So maybe that's why my mom fell in love with him.
Yes.
So I think I'm a mix of both of them.
So did the king ever find them?
Yeah, I mean after a couple of years, then you know there was a lot of compromise
And acceptance and
and
tolerance.
everything.
Yes.
Yeah, but what had happened, you know, like many of the love story didn't ended up quite well. So my father and mother then obviously were not staying together.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know my mom was obviously, you know, she was very proud, and she didn't really wanted to go back to my grandfather because, you know, my grandfather would say, look, I told you not to do this, but you still did that. So she then started her own life from literally zero.
So they split.
Yeah.
Because it didn't work out.
Yeah.
And she had to start from square one.
Yeah.
What a brave woman.
And I think that was the time when I was almost born. That was the time this thing was happening. So it was my mom who actually
raised
me up.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Yes.
those days, it was good. I mean, it was small house. My mom then was working, so throughout the day she would be working. So they would be like left alone to do everything. And because of my elder brother and elder sister, she could not afford to keep all three of us in the same place.
Oh.
My sister was staying with my uncle, for example, and my brother also with somebody else. So it was a bit of.
So you didn't even grow up together?
We didn't grow up together.
Were you in the
yeah.
same state or city?
It was in the same city.
Yes.
It was in the same city, but not like the same house for a while. So sometimes we would get together, sometimes. But it's all because of ensuring that we all have a good life.
Yeah.
So she did a lot for us.
Yeah. Wow. Is she still alive?
Yes, yes, she is.
Oh,
very much
wow.
alive.
She must be very proud of you.
Yeah, of course she
And your
is.
siblings.
Yeah.
That's pretty. I did not see that background. Oh, I did not see that kind of a story whatsoever. So she took care of you. Then your uncle took care of your brother. Another one took care of your other brother. So you're all brothers.
Dad was there. It's just that physically, not on
Not
a day-to-day
involved.
basis. But I think I would not like to say that he didn't take care of us.
Yeah.
He was always there
Yeah.
in terms of paying our school fees.
Yeah.
But day to day, it was not really there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So then what happened? So how did you move from that city? Which city is it in?
It was a city called Jamnagar. It was in
Jamnagar.
Gujarat, yeah. It's a state in Gujarat. It's
Okay.
a city in Gujarat.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you went up to what level in education?
So from there, my mom then obviously, she took some courses because she wanted to be a professional. So she did some nursing. Then from there we moved to another city, which was a much bigger city. So that's where I studied. My college was done there. And for I was not too good in my schools.
Oh.
My brother, a very smart guy, he was always getting A+. My sister, the same thing. And I always used to, because we all studied in the same school. So, my teacher would always end up saying, look at your brother, look at your sister, how come? Yeah. So that created some sort of a distance between me and my brother.
Oh.
Because you always, have to keep comparing, even my mom would say, look at your brother, look at your sister.
Oh.
So when I was in my final year, I had a friend in Kenya, and his company was looking for somebody. And I literally wanted to leave. So when I got this opportunity, I picked up the bag and just ran.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, so first, how did you even have a friend in Kenya?
So he was in India.
Okay.
So we studied together. He was like 3-4 years ahead of me. And
okay.
Yeah.
So he came here.
So he was here doing some work.
Some work.
Yeah.
So you packed your bag and left.
And I just left. Yeah.
And that's because you had it with being compared to your siblings. And
not really. Plus, I also wanted to do something. So So I said, yeah, let's give it a try. Plus, in India, it's like when you get an opportunity to go abroad, it's like you never miss that.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Ah.
Yeah.
So you landed here. What year was that?
This is almost 15 years back now.
Okay.
Yeah. So even in India, as I said, when you leave, it's like the whole family and every friends, even people you don't know would come to see you off at the airport. So that's how I came to Kenya.
Okay.
And I worked in Kenya for a few months in the company with my friend. But the job was not so interesting. And I came with a lot of hopes and that, oh my God, I'm going to conquer the world. But the job I was offered was literally nowhere. And then I got, where I used to stay as a paying guest, I got a friend who was an IT manager for a bank. His bank was looking for a system, software. And I said, yeah, I can give it a try. I can
And you
give it a
hadn't
try.
studied software?
You see, in India, everyone learns computers, everyone. So generally, like 10 plus 2, so you do 10 plus 2, then you get into the college. And when you get into the college, if you get good grades in 12, then you end up in medicine, which is like the best of the best. Then if you get second, you get into engineering, which is also good. And all the leftovers, they get into like physics and chemistry. And these lot who is like the leftovers, there's so many of us there, so the job opportunities are very less. And so for you to ensure that you end up somewhere, we always do computers in the site. So that's how I had learned some computers.
Because you're among the leftovers.
Yeah.
And leftovers in this case means you are not able to bag the glitzy.
Yeah, that's true.
And leftovers is physics and chemistry.
Physics, chemistry, yeah.
You guys have such high standards. Those are super high standards. Okay, so you wanted to try this software.
I wanted to try this out with the man who was working in a bank. So in the evening or on the weekends, or anytime I used to get time, I used to write the program for this bank. But one of the days, my employer found out that I am doing something. And obviously, I should not be doing that, but I was still doing that, and he was not so happy.
Yeah.
And he just decided to send me back to India. Yeah,
oh my goodness.
And it was such a sudden decision. He found out like 2 days back, and then one day in the morning he comes to me and says, today evening he is sending me back to India.
Here's your ticket, go.
Yeah. And it was interesting time because he thought maybe he would give me the ticket and I would not fly back. So he had somebody come to me to the airport, ensure that I get into the flight.
He was that wounded because you are doing something else in your free time?
I would not say wounded. He is a friend to me now, so obviously,
so
times are past.
You mended fences. Okay.
But you see, what happened is, when I came to Kenya, my mom, everyone was so happy that finally these guys, getting on the rails somewhere.
Yeah.
And then now if I go back to India and says, Mom, I messed up, it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit closer to my sister, so I called her up and says, this is what has happened, and I'm coming back to India, but can you help me to come back to Kenya? Because I saw the opportunity of the project that I was working on. And so that's how I came back. So the story actually starts now from there. Yeah.
So did you come back to this company that you were working for?
No, because they fired me. So I just came on my own. And I think I've been very lucky. So I used to stay as a paying guest at one of the places. The auntie was quite good. She let me stay there for like almost 2 years without paying
rent.
And all that. Yeah.
Wow.
And so hard times were there because I had no income at that time. So whatever money I had, I used to stay with that. You would end up going to your friend's place in the evening and says, I was just passing by, and
so that you can have some food. Really?
So those are the times that happened, but I think that really helped me to who I am today.
Yeah. So 2 years without
almost
a solid job.
More than 5 years. It's almost 5 years.
Yeah,
almost 5
so you were just doing little projects here and there as they come.
The bank that I was working.
Yes.
Obviously, I wrote a program for them, and they also taught me how to do the banking. So that's what I was working on.
Right.
I never really had a need of a lot of money because as long as you have the food and a roof on your top, I think I was okay with that.
Were they not paying you?
They would pay me after the project gets finished. So I had to make sure that the project get finished is much faster.
Yeah.
But just to be, to make it some of the facts, for example, like, the bank would call you in the morning and says, come for a meeting, show us what is there. And if they are busy, they would say, okay, now come back in the evening. So you have walked from Westlands to town because that's where the office is. And throughout the day, you have nothing else to do. So you go to Uhuru Garden, sit under a tree, wait for 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, then go back to the bank. So I think those were some of the things that is now behind.
And this time you haven't eaten, you're walking.
Yeah, I know, it's okay. Wow. No, it's okay.
Did you have a dream at that point? Did you?
No, I just wanted to make sure that I do something, because there was a lot of peer pressure, the social pressure was immense because I didn't want to go back to home, India and then come out as a failure.
Yes. Yeah. So where did then the breakthrough come?
So once the software was ready for this bank, and then they paid me, I think then I think started becoming much easier.
How long did it take for this project before you got your first pay?
Two and a half, oh yes, about 3 years, 2.5 to 3 years.
And they only committed to pay after? Wow.
Yeah.
Those were the rules back then, eh?
Yeah. I was okay with that. I mean,
Yeah.
when you wanted to do something,
Yeah.
you can go to any extent.
Right.
Yeah.
So your life at least saw some bit of life. Your life found some life after 3 years. We got the pay.
Yeah.
And then how did
So they paid, and then obviously for a bank to pay, you need to have a registered company. They can't pay to an individual generally. So I had to form a business. So that's how Craft Silicon was formed. And then they made the first payment to us.
To Craft Silicon.
Craft Silicon.
And so now you had a company.
Now we had a company. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And now you started to build it.
So once that software was ready for that first bank,
Yes.
then it was slightly easier to go to the other banks, because banks also talk to each other and say, there was this guy who gave us this, give him an opportunity.
Yeah.
So everyone really helped me a lot. Even
Yes.
the bank I worked for helped me a lot. Then from there I got another opportunity with microfinance. The lady called Ingrid Munro, I don't know if you know. She was the managing director of that microfinance.
Okay.
And she actually helped me a lot also in those days. And then some of the big players of today, like James Mangi, from there I got some deal with Equity Bank, so he actually helped me a lot also. And then slowly by slowly, I think it just started building up.
So how old is Craft Silicon?
Craft is now 20 years.
20 years.
Yeah. So that's where it started.
Yes. And at what point did you decide it's time for Little?
So Craft does a lot of business into payment space. So we deal with banks, microfinances, electronic payment providers. It's a B2B service. So we serve a lot of customers, but they don't really know us as Craft Silicon because we are always at the back. And I really wanted to get into the retail mass market where we actually understand the customer more ourselves. So that's where we found Little. It's a retail brand that talks to the customers directly.
Yeah. Why the name Little? It's very unique, by the way.
So the idea behind Little was that we wanted to do, little things in life make a lot of difference. So we wanted to come up with some little things here and there that can really make your life much easier. So that's how
it came about. And then with this sign.
Yeah, like nice.
So in terms of, and this Little was born how long ago?
Little is 4 years now.
It's 4 years.
4 years now.
So now you had Craft, firstborn, Little baby, and of course you have employees and managers and directors. But what are some of the hurdles that you had to overcome in stabilizing the businesses?
So the growth was a challenge, especially when it comes to technology. Now things are changing, but a couple of years back the technology always used to come outside Kenya. So everybody in Kenya would import the technology from India, from US, from Europe, and then to sell the technology to a local customer was extremely difficult. So there I had to form a company in India. So Craft Silicon in India, I had to form it, and then the same program that you write here, I had to import it back from India, so that the customer in Kenya would feel that what I'm selling them is now coming from India.
Yet you've created it here.
Yeah. I think there are some of the jacks and rules tricks you do it in order to,
So as long as it was done in Craft Silicon India, it was good enough for the customer in Kenya?
Yeah, to a certain extent. In those days, now things are different.
Things are
but
different.
In earlier days.
Yeah. And in terms of growing now the people, so now you had to start to hire people. You became now an employer.
Yeah.
Back then with Craft. So here's a man who you go from almost nothing with just, kind people helping you here and there, and now you have to look for the talent yourself to grow this company. What was that process like?
And it was a gradual process. We didn't grow overnight. So, when the first customer paid some money, the work came in. So, from me, I was the only person. Then we became 2. Then some more work came in. So 2 became 4 and 4 became 8. Today, Craft is about 800 people company.
800?
Yeah, about 800.
In Africa, in Kenya, or?
In Kenya would be about 300 or so. But other several countries in Africa also we have offices. So we office in Uganda, Tanzania, Ghana, and a few other countries. Plus also another large setup in India.
Yes.
So India, we also do now business in Asia. So it's not just India, but India, Philippines, Vietnam, and the others. But this is still the head office.
Yes.
So Kenya is the head office.
Where you are, that's where the head office. That's the head office. And Little has how many staff members?
Little is about 100 now.
Wow.
About 100.
So you're running a whole conglomerate of tech, fintech, microfinance, etc.
That's
okay. Why are you're so modest about it? What is this? Is this there's a word for it, which it has disappeared. But where do you draw this personality from? Why have you always been like this?
I think I've always been like that. Yeah, and I'm a very tech person, so I'm not a business person. I'm not a social person. I cannot network. So if you put me in like among 100 people and says now go and look for business, I completely get lost.
Okay.
Yeah. So one thing which I learned is, what happens normally, like mothers, if they see that the children is weak in maths, the child is doing good in art but is weak in maths, they would send you to a mathematics tutor to improve your mathematics. But what I think we should do is not send him to a maths tutor to learn maths, because he's already weak in maths. Send him to where he is good at. So if he's good in arts, send him to learn more arts.
Right.
Rather than into perfect maths, he should perfect arts.
Yes.
So that's what I also think I did. I was not good in selling. I was not good in management. So I started putting the people in that place instead of me learning that. So so now I have a good team who runs, wonderfully.
So you have strong people in the right positions, and you as the head, you do not have to do everything.
Yeah, I don't have to do anything. I mean, obviously, some strategic decisions I take, but otherwise they run the business more nicely than what I would have done.
Yeah. So you recognize what your strengths are, and that's what you focus on, which is mostly your laptop and creating.
Yeah, I'm a techie. So I can look for, I can figure out, or I can design products that people would use it. But once the products are ready, how to go and sell that product,
somebody
else to.
I guess by the time we leave here, I'll be a techie, but for now...
You should be.
No, I cannot. I have no passion whatsoever. Let me stick to my strengths, like you said.
True.
So we'll take a short commercial break. When we come back, Mr. Budhabhatti will be telling us what the future is, what he sees the future is for technology in this continent, and of course for his companies, and a few business insights and tips that can enhance how we carry out our own businesses. Don't go too far. Right after the break.
Allow flexibility, allow innovation, allow failures, because if the failures are not allowed, then people would really fear making decisions which they think might fail or might work out. Yeah.